Welcome everyone to Mamados Medical Media, a 3-on-9 YouTube channel, weekly posting new medical videos. Join our Facebook and Telegram groups for more interaction and latest news. You could also support the channel on Patreon, where we upload multiple choice questions and other premium content. Thanks in advance.
Hi everyone, continuing our series on the sensory system, and in this video we will look at the physiology of pain. So to start this topic, we should know that pain is a protective mechanism for raising awareness about a state of injury or stress in the body. Pain sensation has both ascending and descending tracts. In this video, we'll look at the ascending tracts of pain. When we say nociceptor in a pain pathway, we mean the pain receptor and the afferent fiber. But when we say nociceptor, we mean the pain receptors only on the free nerve endings. Pain sensation is perceived through the somatosensory cortex, the thalamus, the reticular formation, the limbic system, and nuclei in the brainstem. Pain sensation is triggered by noxious stimulus causing tissue injury by whatever type of energy. And now let's look at some special properties for pain sensation. First, all of the pain afferents are free nerve endings. Second, the pain afferents have more number and distribution in the body than other afferents for other sensory modalities. Pain sensation has no specific adequate stimulus. Whatever causes tissue injury will produce pain sensation. Pain receptors are non-adaptive receptors. In fact, these receptors might get more sensitive with repetitive stimulation, causing something called hyperalgesia, which we will look at later on this series. Nociceptors have high threshold for pain. For them to be stimulated, the stimulus must be strong enough or noxious to produce tissue injury. In general, pain sensation is poorly localized in comparison with other sensory modalities, like touch, for example. Pain sensation could be either physiological normal pain, which we will look at in this video, or it could be pathological because of some other medical conditions. And now we want to look at some substances that triggers pain sensation. These substances are released from injured body tissue, white blood cells during inflammation, or in the muscles due to its metabolic activity. Potassium released from the dead cells with some proteolytic enzymes stimulate nociceptors to transmit signals of pain. Substances like prostaglandins and substance P decreases the threshold of pain sensation, resulting in a higher sensitivity of nociceptors to painful stimuli. Other substances that stimulate the nociceptors are like cytokines released from the white blood cells. Histamine also produces pain. Serotonin released from the platelets also contributes to the pain sensation. Bradykinin is also a well-known substance that produces pain. In the muscles, some metabolites due to the anaerobic glycolysis also produces pain. So all of these substances together are called the pain-producing substances. Nociceptors are mostly vanilloid receptors called VR1. Some temperature receptors called VRL1 were also identified. And now we look at qualities of pain. There are two qualities of pain. Pain could be either a fast pain, which is also known as the first pricking or sharp pain. It's felt within 0.1 second after stimulus application, and that's why it's called a fast pain. And it's the pain of the superficial tissue, like the skin and the subcutaneous tissue, with few exceptions like the parietal pleura and the peritoneum. It's a well-localized pain, and it's transmitted by the type A delta fast myelinated fibers. And now let's look at the pathway that the fast pain is transmitted through. It's called the neospinothalamic tract, and in this pathway, the A delta afferents having their cell bodies on the dorsal root ganglia, and then they travel up or down through the Lee-Sowers tract before synapsing with the second order neurons. They synapse at the rax lamina 1 and 4, and the A delta afferents releases a neurotransmitter called glutamate, which is fastly produced and act for a short duration. Then the second order neurons cross to the other side, and as they ascend, they give few branches for the reticular formation and some nuclei in the brainstem. Most of the fibers then synapse in the ventroposterior lateral nucleus of the thalamus, and from there the third order neurons synapse with the somatosensory cortex. And also few branches are given for the cingulate gyrus and the limbic system. And now with the other quality of pain, which is called the slow pain. The slow pain is also known as the second delayed or burning pain. It's a diffuse, dull, unbearable type of pain, often associated with unpleasant feeling. It's the pain of the skin and the deeper tissue. It's not well localized, and sometimes it could be referred to other sides of the body. And we will talk about referred pain later on the series. The slow pain is transmitted by the type C slow unmyelinated fibers. Slow pain is transmitted by the paliospinothalamic tract, and in this tract, the type C unmyelinated fibers having their cell bodies on the dorsal root ganglia, and then they ascend or descend in the Lee-Sowers tract before they synapse with the second order neuron in the rax lamina 2 and 3. And in the rax lamina 2 and 3 we find the substantia gelatinosa, a nuclei called the substantia gelatinosa. It's also known as the gate of pain, where afferents release substance P as a neurotransmitter, which has a more prolonged action than glutamate in the fast pain. Then the second order neuron crosses to the other side, and too many branches of these fibers synapse with the nuclei of the reticular formation and some nuclei in the brainstem. Ascending second order neuron then synapse with the intralaminar nucleus of the thalamus, the hypothalamus, and the limbic system. Few number of neurons from this pathway reach the somatosensory cortex. And now let's take a look at the functions of the somatosensory cortex in the perception of pain. First, we have the topognosis, or the localization of pain sensation. In fast pain, it's well localized, but in slow pain, it's poorly localized because few branches reach the somatosensory cortex. Second function of the somatosensory cortex is discriminating between different qualities of pain. Third other function for the somatosensory cortex is determining the intensity of the painful stimuli, either by the frequency of the repetitive stimulation or by the number of stimulated afferents. And now in the last segment of this video, we will look at some reflexes related to the noxious stimuli. First, we have the motor reflexes, and the motor reflex could be a withdrawal reflex, and it's a reflex that originates in the spinal cord and causes a fast contraction of muscles to pull the body or part of the body away from the painful stimuli. In this reflex, we find that interneurons connecting the ascending pain pathways to the motor nuclei in the spinal cord, and through this connection, this reflex is initiated. Guarding is another reflex in cases of diseased organs, where muscles around the inflamed organs gets contracted continuously. Second is the autonomic reflexes due to the connection between the thalamus and the hypothalamus, which is the headquarters of the autonomic nervous system. In cases of mild pain, the posterior hypothalamic nuclei is stimulated, resulting in the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, leading to its effects like the tachycardia, the high blood pressure, and so on. On the other hand, in cases of severe pain, the anterior hypothalamic nuclei is stimulated, resulting in the stimulation of the parasympathetic nervous system, leading to a state of a lower heart rate and blood pressure. Numbness and even neurogenic shock could be triggered by such severe pain. Third is the unpleasant emotional reaction to pain. It might also include depression with chronic pain, crying in children, nausea and vomiting in some cases. And last but not least, the visual reflexes triggered by the superior colliculus in the upper midbrain might also help in avoiding painful stimuli. And so that would be it for the first part of the physiology of pain. In our next video, we will look at the types of pain. So we meet again in our next video.